Hi, my name is Rachel Rohrbacher, and I'm presenting on multitasking and divided attention. I learned about mainly the two different types of attention in class, which were selective attention and divided attention, and I really took a liking to that topic. The text briefly went over multitasking and how it basically is divided attention, but I wanted to dive deeper and learn more about it. So apparently, there is no such thing as multitasking, meaning that it is virtually impossible for the brain to focus and make the body do things all at once. What is actually happening when people think they are multitasking is that they are switching their attention from one task to another task extremely quickly. As we are switching our attention so quickly, we believe that we are quote unquote multitasking and paying attention to everything all at one time, which is simply not the case. The reason we cannot multitask is because the similar tasks we try and do at once actually compete to use the same part of the brain that is needed to complete them. With all this being said, this is called using our divided attention because we are spreading our attention simultaneously amongst many different tasks. So, for example, when you're talking on the phone, you're using a part of your brain where that is used to communicate. So when you're talking and then you're trying to write an email at the same time, the reason you can't actually talk and type at the same time is because you're already using the part of the brain to talk to on the phone, so you can't use it at the same time to type the email. So if you notice that whenever you do try to type the email while you're on the phone, you're actually like pausing and listening to the other person talk, but not really listening. It's kind of going in one ear out the other, but you hear them and then you're typing and then you talk. So multitasking isn't really, you're dividing your attention across multiple platforms, but you aren't exactly doing the tasks all at one time. So the part of the brain I use to communicate is being occupied. So therefore, you can only formulate words and sentences for what I'm thinking about in that moment, and that's why you can't text and email at the same time. So with that, I found some articles that I thought were very relatable and interesting to divided attention and multitasking. And there were so many to choose from. I found this one and I thought it was quite interesting. I feel like it's always been an ongoing debate about whether music distracts you or helps you. So, Catherine D. Middlebrooks, Tyson Kerr, and Alan D. Castile did a study on both selective and divided attention combined. So, they actually put forth the idea that we are selectively distracted. So, to put this theory to the test, they conducted an experiment where they wanted to examine how these distractions, music and coffee shop noises, and divided attention influence one's ability to selectively remember certain valuable information. So, they made participants study a list of words while listening to music or without distractions. So, there were two scenarios. And they actually found that there were no significant differences between conditions in terms of selectively remembering the most valuable words. Their results suggest that people may compensate for divided attention costs by selectively attending to the most valuable items, and that factors that worsen memory do not necessarily impair the ability to selectively remember important information. So, in normal people words, they're basically saying that music and distractions like coffee shop noises don't necessarily impair our ability to remember them. So our ability is still there. It's just up to us whether we actually want to remember or not. And we're going to selectively always understand and remember the important information, regardless of what's happening. Distracted driving plays a huge part in testing your divided attention skills, and I feel like that is one of the most cases where, I mean, I'm a victim of it too, where people will say that they accomplish multitasking, and that is just not right. So Shaw et al. Conducted an experiment on the effects of roadside distractors on performance of drivers, and I thought this would be a good choice as my second article to kind of focus more on the multitasking side of things. And they did a really good job of conducting this experiment. They actually used a driving simulator to test their participants, and they had their participants go through two types of simulation scenarios that each lasted about 15 minutes. One scenario was just with them following a motorcycle, and they used the motorcycle to see how well the participants did with keeping focus on a fixated object for an extended period of time. So they're trying to see if that would help them not get distracted by other things and just keep focus on the motorcycle. Or, as opposed to the second scenario, they didn't have them following any vehicle, and this was where distractors popped up, and they used 4 distractors, and they were cop cars, ambulances, billboards, and huge dump trucks with cones around like a construction area. So, of the distractors tested, billboards and work zones were shown to have the most significant impacts on driver inattention, as evidenced by decreased detection time, margins, and error rates. So, with taking this further, after looking through articles for this project, I came across a lot of experiments that were performed using driving simulators. And I really like the idea of using that because it is the closest and safest way to get the accurate data needed to indicate if certain theories are correct or not correct. So basically, it's super ethical because you aren't putting the people in danger asking them to multitask and look at their phones while they're driving. I also noticed that no article truly focused on people multitasking on specifically their phones while driving. And I think that I would want to propose an experiment using a driving simulator with different distractions that are your own technological device in the simulator. So I think that would be really accurate and with the results and data we get because of how relevant technology is to new drivers. And I would put forth a simulator that has kind of like a Bluetooth telephone connection. It kind of shows their telephone like on the side, and we have their number so we can text them and see how many times, or maybe putting it in their lap and seeing how many times they want to look down out of the simulator to look down at their phone because they feel the vibration, and maybe test that. So in the next video, I want to show kind of what a simulator would look like if you were in it, and that would probably be what mine would look like. So I hope you kind of liked it. It was just a prototype. Definitely not exactly what it would be like, but kind of having an idea is kind of cool. And I just want to point out that just think of a new teenager driver on the road, and it's kind of scary. And statistics have shown that their skills improve within the first 6 months of driving, and this is honestly due to experience. When they are concentrated on the road, they are putting forth all of their attention and focus on what is happening to them, and they're also observing what's happening to other people around them. So, observing how other people can maneuver out of situations, so maybe in the future, if that situation were to happen to them, they already observed and experienced how someone else did, and then they'll gain experience doing it themselves. So, this therefore allows for experience in how to handle situations on the road. I feel that cell phones now distract these novice drivers, especially these novice drivers are in the prime age of cell phone usage, which does not help their case at all. And they are now selectively choosing to look at their phone instead of the road, which forfeits opportunities to gain experience. They are selectively choosing to pay attention. They're dividing their attention, multitasking, but they are looking down at their phones and then paying their attention and just observing kind of that they aren't in danger, and then they're looking down. So they're missing all of those prior experience that they would be getting if they weren't looking at a phone. So I feel that statistics would be different today, and that it's important that maybe they should be put in the simulator because simulators could potentially turn into something that could be used as attention maintenance skills. So before teenagers get in the car to drive, they kind of have experience from simulators, even though it obviously does not compare at all to real life situations. But it will be nice to prepare these teenagers prior to them getting their license because we have all this technology, so why not use it? So I hope you enjoyed my video and presentation, and I just thought it was a super relatable topic for everyone. I think I've said that I multitask about a million times in my life, so I think it's very interesting, and maybe this will help you know that you can't multitask and maybe take a step back and try and finish one thing at a time, or you know what, be me as well and just keep trying to multitask even though you can't. But I hope you enjoyed it, and look for my research study on multitasking because it'll happen maybe someday, hopefully.